Welcome back everyone and Happy New Year. So this is going to be the first video for the year 2024 and I'm going to be starting it off with a new project which is going to be restoring, well, first dismantling and then replacing and restoring everything on this front beam so that I can put this onto my Squareback. Quick little update in the reason why I haven't really been so active, because I accidentally injured my wrist and I haven't really been able to do much, but I think if I'm careful, I think I should be okay. I'm not going to be really doing too much heavy lifting here, just really taking a whole bunch of stuff apart. So you may have seen this front beam from my previous video or one of my most recent videos of the Squareback, which was a few weeks ago or a month ago or something. But basically I picked up this front beam somewhere in like South Pasadena or something. First thing I want to do is just really take everything apart piece by piece. These rotors, the brake calipers, I don't think I'm going to be reusing them. Shocks, I'm not going to reuse them. A bunch of the tie rod ends, I'm not going to reuse them. And the ball joints, I'm not going to reuse them. So my main things that I want to keep on here is of course this whole front beam, the lowered arms, and the spindles here. So I really needed this specific like generation of front beam because I mentioned it on that last video. There's like the older style, which is like the wide fives, this style, which is exactly what I need, and then the later ones that have the different bigger brakes. I think it's also a different spindle, but yeah, anyways, this is exactly what I need. And the thing I noticed that's kind of interesting about this beam is it came with some aftermarket looking backing plates that has like this vent here that kind of cools off the brakes. There's also holes and everything. I'm pretty sure this is aftermarket. I really don't know if I want to reuse these. I don't know. We'll see how it looks like when I have it all taken apart. All right, first thing to go is this caliper here, and there's two 17mm bolts right here. Try to do this one-handed. Oh, that was already loose. And that came off pretty easily. Whoa, look at these brake pads. They're so pretty thick. I'm really not digging the yellow calipers or the yellow on any of this stuff, so all of this stuff's gonna get replaced. I'll probably sell this off or throw it away or something. Now I need to remove this cap, and then there's like a thing in there for me to release, and this rotor should come off. I just actually used a 19mm or any other size that's kind of close to this, and then I shove it right here and push down, and eventually this cap will just come off as I go all the way around. But I do need two hands for this. So actually, let me try to see if I can remove it like this. But yeah, basically like that. See how it's already kind of lifting? All right, I'll get back to it. With that cap now out of the way, you have this retaining bolt thingy here, and you need a 6mm Allen key to loosen this bolt right here. And once this bolt is loose, then this will come off. I know that either this one or that side are reverse thread, so just keep that in mind when you're taking these off. Okay, both caps are removed here and there. This one is the usual righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. This one here, which is the driver's side, is going to be the reverse threads. So righty-loosey, lefty-tighty. See how that comes off? So basically you're just loosening this Allen bolt right here and then taking this off so that you can take the rotor off. Also on the back side of it, this says L for left, and I'm assuming that side's gonna say R for right. Now with that nut off, there's like this washer. It's not really a perfect circle in the ID because there's like a point right here that goes in this like that. So you take that out. If it's hard, what I used is a flathead and just kind of wedge that out. So with that out, you can now see like the bearing race in there, and this rotor here should just come off. Should, because I mean it should just come right off pretty easily, but because obviously you can tell this is really rusted, I had to use like a dead blow and kind of hit that side here here back and forth until this comes loose. So basically this should just come right off. And again, I'm gonna need 2 hands for this. Rotor is now removed, so I got this out here, the outer bearing race out from the front there, and it was kind of tricky getting the rotor out of the spindle. So what I did is I rotated it like this, and then as I was spinning the rotor, I basically just like hit it with a mallet or dead blow on this side here until eventually the race and the rotor comes out. Sometimes this race right here, the inner bearing race, will get stuck instead of coming out with the rotor there. I mean, it probably shouldn't be too hard to take that out, but it's just also really dirty, and I don't really want to get my beautiful hands to get dirty right now, so I'll leave that as is. I think I should be able to take off this backing plate now. This should just be the regular 17 nut, same size as the bolts holding the calipers. Okay, so the backing plate's now removed. Now the spindle is starting to look a little bit more bare, but we still have quite a few things to remove off of it. Now the next thing is to work on these ball joints. So there's going to be these 2 bolts here and here. This one's for the upper ball joint here, and this one's for the lower ball joint here. So if you remove this, that will remove the lower part of the ball joint off of the spindle. Same thing as over here. When you remove this, that's going to remove that off the spindle as well. Now to remove the actual ball joints off of the arms, I'm actually just going to be using an adjustable wrench. I think this is like a 27 or 30 or something, I forget, but basically you just take this off and then the whole ball joint should just come off. Same thing as down here, which is what's different from the type 3 compared to the type 1, because I think the type 1 beam, the ball joints are actually pressed into the arms compared to the type 3s, which is just bolted in, so it makes it a whole lot easier for me to take off. And there is the spindle all removed. I did just loosen the bolts here for the ball joints to come off of the spindle, but the ball joints to the arms have been removed. Don't forget there's a washer here. And also I find it strange that this washer was stuck on here with some like RTV. See that? I don't know why they decided to do that, unless it's just like old caked on oil or something, or grease maybe, I don't know, but whatever. Yeah, the spindle I'll just put to the side for now. Maybe I'll continue dismantling that, but eventually I do have to, because I want to kind of clean everything up and then start working on removing these arms. Okay, before I move forward with removing the arms there, I do want to remove this side first as far as the spindle goes. And you can see I already removed the rotor. And one thing to note is that, like I mentioned earlier, sometimes the bearing race will stick to the actual rotor instead of this side, where over here it's like stuck on there. I am lucky enough to not have to deal with this one. Just remove that shock there on the passenger side. Again, that's a 17mm nut and a 17mm bolt here on the top. And then here on the spindles holding this and that down are also 17mm bolts. I know I used an adjustable wrench earlier for that side on the driver's side, but here it's actually a size, what is this, 30? Yeah, size 30mm socket. It's the same socket that is on the type 3 pulley and a few other things I forget. Okay, that one took a little bit of effort, which is why I wanted to use a socket instead of the adjustable wrench. That one was pretty easy. All right, I have both spindles removed here, and before I move forward, I just want to make sure I'm able to identify this in the future so that I don't put this in the wrong spot. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's not gonna happen, but you know, I like to reference my old videos. So this one here on the driver's side, it says 5115, of course with a VW logo there, so that has to be real, or I mean not real, but factory. And over here on the passenger side, VW, and then it says 51L5. This is gonna be the passenger side, and without the L is gonna be driver's side. Alright, I ended up switching up my brace situation so that I can put these gloves on. Before I move forward at all in taking the rest of the spindle apart, I want to clean as much of this grease up as possible. I have a bunch of these napkins here, so I'm just going to clean all this up and then eventually just take off these ball joints. I don't need to label them, I'm going to just throw these away basically. And then maybe I'll be able to take off this arm here as well, which is just those 2 bolts. Inner race bearing thing is finally removed. I actually thought I was gonna need to use this puller clamp thingy, but with enough force on this thing and the hammer, it just pops right off. And also this rubber or plastic wheel seal here is supposed to sit on the basically, so this goes on the inside of the rotor and this is supposed to cap it off in the back, but since this came off of the rotor, that's why this thing stayed here. Let's just show you where these actually go. So this normally sits just like that with this wheel seal back there. I really don't have to clean it up too clean right now because my plan is to take these spindles over to Russ over at Old Speed so that he can do some cutting and welding and everything to make these into drop spindles for me. I don't know if he actually will ask me to take these off. I'll just take it off so that it's loose enough for me to take it off by hand. Otherwise, it'll just stay here, and if he wants me to take it off, I'll take it off. Spindles are now taken apart, so I use this punch here to get these ball joints out of this hole, and this hole, and that hole, and just basically just do that. But basically, in order for me to even fit this into here to get this out of the way, I had to actually pull off this whole arm here. And I just like to stay organized and not mix anything up, so I got my paint marker here. This is yellow Mighty marker, and I marked L, 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 and L here to signify that it goes like that. And same thing with R, 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 and R for right side to go there. So now I can kind of like throw this all in a box, and I should be able to figure this out based on this video. These ball joints, I really don't care about them. They're in really, really bad shape. I mean, I guess maybe they could get rebooted, but really, who knows the condition of the inside of these. I'm just gonna throw all that away unless any of you guys want these for some reason. Whatever. They're probably just gonna go in the trash. I don't care. I don't know exactly where they're gonna cut. When I spoke to Russ, he said it's gonna be like a 2-inch drop. So I don't know if he's gonna chop it like here and remove the 2 inches. I really don't know. So I'm probably just gonna drop these off. Also, again, I don't know if Russ needs these, but I'll just bring everything and see what he says.
4 to 6 weeks later.
Okay, dudes, I'm back. And the last time I had any kind of footage on this thing was a few weeks ago now. I really have just been waiting for my wrist situation, but that doesn't seem like that's gonna heal up anytime soon, so the show must go on. So all the brake components and the spindle and the ball joints and everything was already removed. Now all that's left to do is just to remove the upper and the lower arms, as well as the tension rods that are inside the actual beam here. Starting off with the upper arm, you'll notice that there's a bolt here and here, but on the driver's side, there's no bolt here and only one over here. Starting off with the passenger side upper arm, I think in the past I mentioned that this may not have been factory. The reason why I thought it was aftermarket is because it's like a jam nut here and a regular bolt, and the other 3 arms, they have a like a grub screw instead and only a nut, so there's no bolt. Specifically on the upper passenger side, which is the right hand side here in the US, this side actually has a bolt instead of like that grub screw Allen thingy. But whatever, I'll just take it off anyways. And I know the impact gun is overkill for what this is, but I'm just trying to limit the amount of times I'm rotating my wrist, so impact it is. Wow, that was super easy. Yeah, this looks like it's factory, so this should hold, I think, this arm onto the tension rod. There we go. Oh, now that's loose. And this comes off just like that. Yep, driver's side actually already came loose as well, so this should come out with the tension rod. And the reason why that came out with a tension rod is because it has this nut and grub screw thingy holding this rod onto this arm. Now to take off this upper driver's side arm off of this tension rod. This is a 19. And the reason why you have to use a open-end wrench is because there's not a lot of space right here to put a socket or even this. So you have to use this guy. So that nut comes off, and then I'm gonna take off this grub screw thing. Hopefully I have that size. And lucky me, I have it. What I could have done is leave this arm inside the beam, so that way I had good leverage to take this out, but you know. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put this back in there. Dang. It's bending my key. I'm trying to heat up the metal around that nut, or I mean the key, so that the metal expands, releasing it from the hardware. There we go. Okay, I got that removed and it worked. Just heat up this part right here with like a blowtorch, and that should expand that metal, releasing it from this. So now I know to remove this first before actually removing the two lower arms. Now this one's off. I should be able to just remove this from this rod here. Just like that. Sweet. Okay, now onto the two lower arms, and they're both gonna have the jam nut and that insert whatever grub screw thing. So the nut comes off first on both of them. I'm just gonna let that sit for a little bit while the PB blaster makes its way in there. Oh, this one was actually pretty easy. With those two now removed, there's only two left, one on each side, and it's this 15 here and the 15 on the other side as well. Yep, that was also very, very loose already. So I know that this, well actually I don't know because the guy didn't tell me any history, so I don't really know what this is currently set at, whether it's been adjusted from factory or it's been lowered, I don't know. As of right now, I'm just gonna mark everything, and then when I'm ready to reassemble it, I'll kind of just compare it to mine, because in mine it's 3 splines drop on each side. I'll have to just, I don't know, we'll see what I do when I get there. But right now I'm just gonna mark this before I completely remove everything out. I ended up marking each side a different color. So here on the passenger side, I marked it with orange, and on the driver's side, I used white, just to eliminate any kind of confusion in the future. So I marked it from the tension rod to the arm, and then the arm to the beam, and I did that on both sides. So now I'm ready to completely remove this. Taking these arms off of this beam should be pretty easy since I already have all the hardware removed, but you never know, it may be seized or something. But usually once all the hardware is out, this arm should just pull out pretty easily. Well, easy if I had 2 hands. Right now I have 1.5, but there you go, already slid out. So that's good. Now just let that hang for a little bit. Oh yeah, this one's easy too. All right. So I do still need to remove the tension rod off of this arm, and I'm wondering if I can do this because there's like a hole right here. Let's see if it fits. Yes, it does. I'll just have to clean up all that grease. There you go. All right, so I'm gonna see if I can push this out. Oh, there you go. It actually is coming out. Perfect. All right. Sweet. That was actually really easy. There you go. That is out. Very easy. The beam is now fully disassembled with the exception of these 2 rubber pieces here. This one actually comes off pretty easily. This one, I think I have to like yank on this a little bit more. But yeah, everything else here is already removed. And I also took the time to lay everything out, everything that was removed off of this assembly. So you can see the rotors there, that's gonna get replaced. The backing plates, I'm still not sure if I wanna reuse these, but maybe I'll just actually hang them along with my other decoration stuff there. I do still have my stock ones, obviously, and then I have some extra ones there that my buddy Nevin gave me. The calipers, I bought brand new ones. I'm good on those. The upper arms, the lower arms, and the spindles, I'm gonna take them over to Russ, and I actually have next Monday off, so I'm gonna take the drive out there. He did say turnaround is around 2 weeks. When I drop it off, I guess I'll probably just start cleaning this thing up and then kind of clean up everything else I need to. I don't think there's really much. I mean, just take off the grease. Everything else is all gonna get replaced anyways. Like ball joints, that's gonna get replaced. I'm using my original, well not original, my what is that called? My MP shocks. I'm reusing those. Ball joints, again, I have those brand new. Rotors, brake components, everything's gonna be all brand new. So stay tuned for the next episode. That one I'm gonna start cleaning up and then completely restoring and reassembling that once I have all the parts together. Thanks a lot, guys.